Okay, so I'm sure some of you have mistakenly cut your fork too short. Not all hope is lost. You don't have to spend another $1,000 on a new fork. You can use, I'd call it maybe a $100 contraption. So it saves you about $400. We are successfully marrying threadless headsets and threaded headsets, and saving you the expense of a new fork. So what I have here, clearly this is way too short. If I decide to put this stem on here, don't have enough steering column in here to confidently secure it, and I don't even have a star nut in there. You say, well, why don't you just put a compression nut? Sure, but again, I don't have enough steering column to confidently do that. So here's what I've created. I'm going to disassemble this. I'm just going to take my 6mm, remove my compression nut. This is the sandwich cap, I guess, if you want to call it that. This does need to come off. We can separate these into its components. Okay, so that's just the cap. Here's the spacers, slit ring, and then this quill nut, or quill stem, I guess if you want to call it. This is a quill adapter to a threaded headset. This is technically supposed to go on a threaded headset, but I've modified this so that I can put it on a threadless headset to begin with. So it's threadless headset to threaded to threadless headset. Lots of components for a little headset. Okay, so normally this piece, you'll see I've filed it off, and those black marks basically are just an indicator of when to stop. So basically it would have looked like this FSA head, but I've shaved off this so that when I fit it in to here, this round edge will be stopped by this, I guess you'd call it a change in width. So it'll sit at the bottom in there, nice and solid. Nothing's getting that loose. Okay, so we put the tie rod, I guess you would call it, in, and I've also, because this is generally these tie rods are about 150, 160 millimeters long. It's just too long, because if I were to put this in here, notice where the threads kind of change here. The quill would stop fully compressed yay high, and that is not enough. It would look like this and it would just wobble all over the place. So I had to create more threads. So that's exactly what I did. Which brings me to my next tool, a tap. Well, technically this is a die, but a tap and die set. So fortunately, I happen to have the right die, and this is an M8 by 1.25 bolt. So all I had to do is run the die all the way down with some kerosene, make sure it's nice and smooth. Works great. The only sort of dicey consideration I've had to make is the fact that the threads are just a little shorter from where I've had to extend them. But it's hard steel and I don't think it's going to be an issue. So we're going to put this all together. Okay, so bolt into stopper. Well, I guess you'd call it a stopper now. That sits at the bottom so that I'm able to get in there and loosen it once I take the cap off. Following? So just thread this on. I'll just put that all the way down. And I'm going to want this threaded on pretty much all the way. As you see, it's sticking out right now. And this is where those extra threads are going to come in handy. So just going to thread it all the way in. So that's all the way in. Again, dealing with a bit shorter thread, but again, this is solid stuff. I don't think it's going to be an issue. So, okay, so now I'm going to put these spacers and slip ring to the side, and we're going to put this together. Okay, so these open and close as you set and unset this. See that? So we'll put this down the middle, take your 5, sort of squeeze it together, thread it in, start it. We're going to put this upside down. Kind of just hold it as you push it. So now that won't move, and I can thread this on when I need to later. And there you have it. There's your full adaptation. So what we're going to do on our Norco Storm 3, I have to take this off. First, put the, I want the handlebar at the bottom, just because it needs to be less of a hazard there. So actually, depends on what you want. I think I'll put it at the top. So in that case, I like it high. I'm going to put the spacers on first, and then a stem. So, put those on. Slip ring. All in there. So I'm going to properly set this now. So I'm going to get my Pedro 6mm T-wrench, which has a ton more girth and length. The middle. Put it down there. It seems to be holding up good. Then we'll take this, open this up. There we go. Got it. Now I should be able to sandwich it up. Okay. No knock. And then all we gotta do, already in line, cinch it up. I use my mouth as a tool too much. Holds too many tools. I feel sorry for my wife. And then yeah, I use perceived effort usually when tightening the stem onto the steering column. And then just go one at a time. Solid. All right, folks, save your money. Don't get a new fork, you don't need it. I can help you out.